just a few blocks down. The other one is the Cumberland County Playhouse, where I got my start at. And another one is on our courthouse lawn, and it's a marker for Mandy Barnett, our local favorite, for her contributions and talents in the music industry. Tonight's show is with Kevin Galloway. We are so excited. This is something we were wanting to try out, have a few extra shows on top of the Ground and the Round on Saturdays, as well as the In the House series on Saturdays. So we thought, well, there's just not enough Saturdays in the year to get all these fantastic musicians in. So we are starting to introduce special event nights, and we're starting this tonight with Kevin Galloway. We are so excited. A quick reminder that this is a listening room experience. So although we do ask that, you enjoy the evening, sing along, tap your feet, clap your little hands, you can whisper and talk, but we ask that you do not interrupt or disrupt the performance, as it is being streamed live, and it's a small little quarters of a room, and we want to give honor to our musicians here that have stories with their songs, and we want to hear their songs, and we have other ticket holders that want to hear the songs too. So without further ado, I don't see Kevin anywhere, so I guess I can do Sympathy for the Devil. So please allow me to introduce myself. That's a bad joke. What I'll do in the meantime, I'll tell you that this weekend we still have our In the House show with Noah Kesselman, and he has been here before. He is a blues rock kind of artist that's based out of Nashville. You are fine. Incredible guitarist who actually hails more from the New England states, but now has made his home in Nashville. We're really excited to have him. And then on the 21st, next Saturday, we have Few Miles On, which is a terrific blues band. And I had the opportunity and the honor of meeting them as we represented the, I believe it was the East Tennessee Blues Society out of Knoxville for the International Blues Challenge in Memphis in 2020. They're coming here on May 21st. They're incredible southern smooth groove. They have like a little tag with that. Anyway, so we have all these shows coming up. Please check our Facebook page and our website, which is www.grinderhousecoffeeshop.com, for all of our events. We have Lee Nash coming in for another special event. This is our first special event tonight. So Lee Nash is coming on a Friday on June 17th. Those tickets are already on sale. They are going quickly. You don't want to miss that show either. She was the lead singer of the Grammy-nominated Sixpence None the Richer, who really broke through in the 90s. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you guys Kevin Galloway.
Clouds in the sky, they come and they go. Like schemes of the wide-eyed wayfaring dreamer. Their infinite form finds constant meaning. Fluid as the wind that gives them their breath. And the heights that they know no end. colors they show are memories of the sun in a bar, the moon in your hand, lightning in the blood, streaming a heartbeat. The moment it begins. Between every pose, in a moment of forever, silence is tuned to the infinite station. Past, present, and future hold space without location, divided by nothing, for there is no separation. You know there is no separation. I see myself in you. The joke's been on myself. Everything you do, I have denied my role in it. Why? My audacity to think that I, as human, didn't have the capacity to be anyone in the world. Anyone in the world. It's awful bad in here, it's awful bad out there, it's awful bad. Is there enough good to go around? You say it's never been this far gone, so I ask of you, what if the worst of the worst could only precurse the bad, the bad, the bad? Night will give way to sunrise. The shadows laid bare by sunshine. Night will give way to sunrise. The shadows laid bare by sunshine. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. Thank you very much. My given name is Kevin Galloway, Kevin O'Neill Galloway. I just go by Kevin Galloway. I've been calling myself a songwriter for 20 years now. I started at the age of 25, and I'll be 45 next month. And twice in that 2 decades of calling myself a songwriter, punched myself in the mouth with the microphone. No, I've done that about 20 times. But twice in the 20 years of being a songwriter, has a song shown up all at once, as if from a distant star, as if I didn't write it, I was just there to catch it. And I'm going to play one of those for you right now, but I'm going to really lay it out for you because I found out in retrospect, it was a song that came through the filter of what I was in that moment. I was on the road with an old band of mine called Uncle Lucius. We were in a former prisoner transport van that I found on Craigslist and took the cages out of the windows and put a trailer behind it and toured across the United States. And we took out the back 2 seats because they're plastic. We put down a futon, and every 6 months we turn it over, you know. Smell and the feel. All metal inside. We had to cut a hole in the side door so we could open the back door, you know. We were putting it to good use, though. But I wrote this song in that van. Uncle Lucius left Austin and headed north up Interstate 35, Dallas, Fort Worth. I would think we did Dallas, and then Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Kansas City, Bloomington, Illinois, Chicago, over to Cleveland, down to Asheville, North Carolina, a place I'd never been before in my life. And we finished out the route by going, I think, Atlanta, New Orleans, Houston, and home to Austin. But I was very intrigued by Asheville because I've heard of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'd never seen them. So there's that. I knew they were there. And I read online that they had a rich 4-season climate, and the retirees were moving there in droves. So I had that on my mind, you know, on this whole Midwest tour, Midwest Southeast tour. And, you know, I did the lion's share of the driving, and I still love to do that because I think the windshield time for me is the best time to get out of my own way and think about these songs. I think this all comes from a place of stepping out of the ego, but being still in touch with self and a human. I digress. Or do I? Because I realized this next song came up through the filter of what I'd been living. We get to Asheville, North Carolina at 3 p.m., like we always try to check into a hotel and take a nap before we have to play the show that night. So the band gets out, and I'm tired, and I feel like getting out, but that futon I'm sitting Indian style on is very comforting, and it's drawing me in. It says, no, stay. And my guitar was right there, so I grabbed it. Started playing that simple thing over and over and over. And it was, I don't know, it got into a meditative state, you know? I just started feeling things, and it was like being in a honey hole when you're fishing and you know something's about to happen. The wind's blowing just right. Water's still. I looked over, and my bag was open, and there was a book hanging out called Hero with 1,000 Faces, written by a guy named Joseph Campbell. I'd been reading that, and I'd been looking at him online, too. He's a man, I think, worth looking up. He was a comparative religion guy and a human mythology guy. He says, myth is not falsity. It is merely us trying to explain the ineffable, the thing we can't put into words. And he said, there's a golden thread of truth through all religions, and these same stories come over and over. And Hero with 1,000 Faces was a book about the hero's journey, which is a reoccurring theme in human history. So I had him on my mind. And I was thinking about the religions that I knew and the religion I grew up with as I'm playing these meditative chords. And I think about retirees moving to Asheville, North Carolina, or Bible characters moving to the Asheville, North Carolina when they reach the age of retirement. So I got that going on, and then that line, the devil's in the details, pops into my head. The devil's in the details, the devil's in the details, and I get caught up, and I catch myself getting caught up in overthinking that and giving that too much force And I stepped back and I said, no, don't overthink it. The devil's in the details. The devil's in the detail shop. It came as naturally as anything, and I don't know where it came from, but I imagined right then a retired gentleman in this story. He's the devil, and he's sitting in a detail shop, and he looks mad. He's mad because they're taking too long with his car. He brings it there once a week, and they should know him. And he's mad at the state of the world. He's thinking the reaping used to be so much better, the souls had so much more context, and he's mad about that, and he's wondering, is this really the end? And when that thought finished itself, the song started, and it opened up, and it wrote all the way through. And I can only say it was because I got out of my own way. But twice has this ever happened to me, and I often say this one is the best song that ever wrote me. It's called Taking in the View. Devil's in the detail shop, waiting on his old rag top, wondering where the hell have all the real souls gone. It's been so long since the reaping was worth a damn. Little Mary's living hand to mouth, can't believe how fast it all went south, taking pains to conceive of an immaculate life. But Jesus Christ, it sure gets hard sometimes. And a bright morning star just left Chicago. He's headed down to Asheville, Carolina, via Ohio. They got a ridge for a season climate and a ridge of mountains blue. And he's gonna spend his golden years taking in the view. Ever since Joseph passed away, the lady hasn't had too much to say. You can find her kneeling in the garden, all skin and bones. And when the seeds have grown, she'll plant again. Last time the market fell, Satan had to sell off half a hell. Now it's all suburban sprawl and big box stores. Well, it can't be sure, but this might be the end. And a bright morning star just left Chicago. He's headed down to Asheville, Carolina, via Ohio. He's got a stack of classic vinyl and a turntable to boot. And he's gonna spend his golden years taking in the view. And he'll sing, I shall be released. And I got a woman over town who's good to me. Walking the floor and do looking out of my back door. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been. And I can hear that train a-coming around the bend. And a bright bright morning star just left Chicago. He's headed down to Asheville, Carolina, via Ohio. They got a rich four-season climate there, and a ridge of mountains blue. And he's gonna spend his golden years taking in the view. Very thankful to be here. This is my favorite thing to do. Get in front of people who actually paid to come to watch you, who are listening, and who could make you a little nervous if you think too much about it, but it's okay. I've done it enough that I'm almost getting over it. I've played a lot of these shows with a cello player. He couldn't travel with me this time, but maybe if they invite us back, I'll bring him in next time. That'd be cool. But I'm really thankful for this place and opportunity. I mentioned before I had a band called Uncle Lucius. We were based out of Austin. We lasted about 13 years, 5 Ford Econoline vans. Went across the United States many times, Europe 2 times. And, I started the band at the age of 28. And so it was really wearing on me towards the end there. And we shut it down. But it's open-ended. But, I moved on and did a couple of solo albums. I did one in 2018 that I brought with me, and I did a new one I'm going to release in late June. But I'm still doing it, but I'm a family man now. I have 2 kids, so I do this a little bit. Sometimes I bring them on the road with me because we homeschool them, and I'm trying to find the middle ground. But I hadn't thought about a bunch of that Uncle Lucius early stuff in a while until a couple weeks ago. I got an email from a guy who has a radio show in Germany. And he had a loyal listener request a song from an Uncle Lucius album from 2009. I hadn't thought about this song in years, but figured I'd pull out an acoustic rendition of it. It's pretty cool because of the internet. People know about me here. And people in Germany are requesting Uncle Lucius songs from 2009. But this is a song I wrote in a different lifetime, but it's loosely based on real life. I was in a long-distance relationship as a young man in my late 20s, and she did me wrong, and then I did her wrong, and I think we reciprocated the thing twice after that. We're friends now. But this is where this comes from. It's an attempt at trying to get back. You've forgiven a fool is me now, gotta do right by you. I ain't expecting anything, I've accepted that we may be through. I put your picture back in the beveled frame to remember how to smile. Love is the reason for everything, let me hold on your heart for a while. Hold on your heart for a while. Well, you caught me at the end of a low-down rope and you made me want to climb. put you through it with the tricks I pulled and the lies and the lies and the lies. I put your picture back in a beveled frame to remember how to smile. Love is the reason for everything. Let me hold in your heart for a while. Hold in your heart for a while. Hey, I was weak and I was wrong. I admit to my mistake. Knowing how I made you feel has been the toughest price to pay. I've got to make a change, and it has to start within. Only small steps and passing time can remedy the shape I'm in. I want to thank you for your patience and your understanding way. I'm humbled by your beautiful capacity for grace. I put your picture back in a beveled frame to remember how to smile. Love is the reason for everything. Let me hold in your heart for a while. Hold in your heart for a while. Let me hold on your heart for a while. Thank you. So I've been a singer way longer than I've been a songwriter. Yeah. Earliest memories of singing as a kid everywhere I went, although I'm really shy, but I would just sing wherever because I felt comfortable with it. My parents, in a different time, would take me to the bars with them on the weekends where the whole family was, and I'd play the jukebox and learn country songs. Grew up in Texas with Willie and Waylon and Towns Van Zandt as heroes, and one of my earliest memories of music is of Merle Haggard's voice mixed with Willie Nelson's voice on Poncho and Lefty. So they're definitely heroes to me. Merle in particular taught me a lot about singing, I think. One of the greatest moments of my life, I was asked this the other day. A young man was playing an acoustic swap set with me. He's 22 and he's just starting, and he was asking me all these questions. He's like, what's the coolest show you've ever done? And I knew right away, my band Uncle Lucius got to open for Merle Haggard one time. And him being a hero was amazing. And I wasn't, this is closer to before the end, and so he had to be helped around a little bit. But man, he played an amazing show. He was totally pro. Still had the voice. And we stood on the side of the stage when he was sound checking in hopes to say hello as he walked by. And he walked by, and he stopped, and he looked up at our drummer and put his head back down and walked off. So I've always got that memory. If you don't mind, I'd like to do a Merle Haggard song. Today I started loving you again, and I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you long enough to let my heartache mend. Today I started loving you again. What a fool I was to think I couldn't get by with only these few million tears I cried. I should have known the worst was yet to come. And that crying time for me had just begun. Today I started loving you again. And I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you long enough to let my heartache mend. And today I started loving you again. Yeah, today I started loving you again. Tomorrow Haggard. I have a master list. There's no order. I have to go by feel, or it feels inauthentic. So I feel this one. This is the second example of a song that showed up all at once. It's a relationship story that goes awry, but comes back around in the end. And it's not specifically my story, but I can say that if I make some wrong decisions, it could be my story in the future. I think we're all one lane away from anybody's story. We can talk about that after the show. This one's called The Change. She's grown cold. He's been gone too long. And with a heartache and a bag of broken dreams, she's moving on. And he won't know the bond back home is broken yet, because he's caught up chasing sky-high fast-time dreams. No, he doesn't even see it coming, and he can't begin to grasp the changing of the season brings. Soon he'll realize what he has lost, and he'll get down from off his cross, and he'll rise up like a man. And him and that old high horse that he rode and put up and wed will come to terms with the past, and they'll find peace like a river and somehow roll that boat ashore. And in a newly faded memory, it will light a fire inside, and he'll wonder all about what might have been. And he'll want another try. And so she'll listen time and time again to the message that she got from him, and recognize the difference in his tone. And she'll want to call him back, but fight the urge 1,000 times and just sit there staring at the phone. And when her longing has finally killed her pride, she'll once again rely on the promise of the man he wants to be, and the changing of the season brings. Thank you. This next tune I put on a new record. My best friend, his name's Vorpahl. He was the first bass player in Uncle Lucius and helped found the band with me. He got out about 8 years in and does his own thing. He likes to stay home and write songs, and he's producing albums. And he's produced my 2 solo albums. He's one of the only people in the world I can actually write a song with. It's a weird place for me, but I know him so well that we can do it. But I had a song we were doing on this album, or I needed another song for this album. And I was in the studio already doing some things, and I had a couple days at home. I was walking around the woods, had my shoes off so I could really feel it. And I got to thinking about the Hopi prophecy, because I live kind of close to a river, and I cannot quote it for you, but it's essentially about, man, I don't want to get this wrong, but it's a raging river. Instead of holding on to the side, let go and float and put your head up and see who's there with you, and know that it has an end. There's a destination to this. So made me think about the parallels to life and everything. And I started on this chorus that was high and low, and then I sang in a way that I really never sang before. I've done it a few times as a kid in choir, but I'll have to show you. It's on the end of this. But man, we're going to get this. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to finger pick this one, so. This one's called Sweet Highs and Lows. Up ahead, just like we said, another wave we gotta ride. Keep your head above the water and your hopes held high. We're gonna make it. Yeah, we gotta make it. Does no good to just stay put safely on the shore. We only get caught in the same place that we were before. If there's a chance, we gotta take it. Yeah. Sweet highs and lows, sweet highs and lows, sweet highs and lows. Let 'em roll, just let 'em roll. Pray the best, ready the rest, more or less, how the saying goes. Until you've been through thick and thin, you never know, you never know. No, you never know about those sweet highs and lows. Sweet highs and lows, sweet highs and lows. Let 'em roll, just let 'em roll. Sweet highs and lows, sweet highs and lows, sweet highs and lows. I realized I didn't complete my thought. My buddy Hal, I gave him that chorus in the first verse, and he came back with the last two verses of that like 2 days later. It was written. So. I've got another song that's going to be on the new album that is inspired by real life. For the pandemic break for musicians, I stayed at home with my wife and my 2 kids. They're 6 and 4 now, but you know they were younger then. There's a silver lining there, getting to hang out with them at such an age. But my wife and I and the kids are together 24/7. It's like you know something. And it's inspirational, to say the least. It inspires one-liners and things I wouldn't think of otherwise. I still love my wife, and I know she loves me. You know. She was pretty pissed off when she heard this song, by the way. I said, I have a song, and she'd heard me singing parts of it, but she was in the other room. I said, I finally got it finished, and I got the whole thing for you. And she was just getting mad and like, you're going to sing about that? And then, just listen, I'm going to keep going. And then bringing it around at the end, I don't want to give away too much, but she was like, oh. But she's still like, I don't know. And my 4-year-old daughter loves to sing, and she's been listening to the album. It's already done. I just, playing it at home, and she sings every word to this. So every day my wife is looking at my daughter singing this to her. And we'll talk more about it after it. But I feel like it's important for me to tell whatever truth it is I know in this place. I think if we can grab onto the things that keep us human across all realms of human life, I think this will bring us to the place. I think music is that thing. So although my wife is pissed off about this, I'm still going to play this in public. I'm unavailable for Sunday night's scuffle. It's hardly debatable, I'm done with the blues. It don't take much to draw the fire of your ire. I won't say much if it'll steady the mood. We're losing touch and pissing on the embers of desire. I've had enough, not giving up, just need to tend to the wounds. I'm unavailable for Tuesday night's tussle. Don't want to engage with you, I'm skipping the blue. Hey, I'm so sorry for the insipid buffoonery you've had to endure all these years whilst being my wife. And you're right to point out all my lackluster moments and keeping score, so there's an ever-running tally of pass balls and swinging strikes. Now I'm unavailable for Friday night's fallout. Darling, it's hardly debatable, I'm done with the blues. Hey, I still love you, babe. Let's call it a truce. Let's call it a truce. 'Cause I still love you, babe. I still need you around. Still believe in the promises we made to each other. I'm convinced we can work it out. I still want you. Only hope that you feel the same. Let's talk about us and set aside the fault and the blame. Yeah, I still love you. I still need you around. Still believe in the promises we made to each other. I'm convinced we can work it out. I still want you. Only hope that you feel the same. Let's talk about us and set aside the fault and the blame. Let's think about them. Take it day by day. Love another water, no ice if you got a chance. Thank you. So at the end of that, where I still love you, my 4-year-old daughter, will grab my wife by the face and put her real close and sing it to her right in her face. What's the elevation here? 1,800. Just a question. I should have asked that later, but thank you. It's a new day, a new time, fresh chance to start right, to lace up my shoes, with my best foot take one step forward, and tell all the people I love that at the end of the day it's the light that they've given that's given me more than a reason for living. Too many times I've let them slip by, the moments, the feelings on tip of my tongue. Concerns of the day seem to get in the way, the ins and the outs of a life on the run. Slow down, just be here now. Here and gone in no time flat. Here and gone in no time flat. Here and gone in no time flat. Slow down, just be here now. I'm thankful for life and the air that I'm breathing. The journey itself's become the reason for living. It's the reason for living. It's the reason for living. Here and gone in no time flat. Here and gone in no time flat. We're here and gone in no time flat. Slow down, just be here now. These off-kilter castles are looming and lusting. Its manifest destinies, bloated bubble busting, rusting at the seams. Life is but a dream. We roll, we roll, we roll. We roll, we roll, we roll, we roll. Been back and forth and back again and conquered every inch. Now we're fighting for a full ownership of a lost and sinking ship. Heaping stacks upon stacks of tremendous weight we speed to the bottom of the sea, to be forgotten just like the ones before, because the cycle is a beautiful thing. We roll, we roll. We roll because it's the only thing we know to do. We roll because we're scared to death that stillness will lead us to ourselves, and we'll be moved to action, following hard without question. So instead we roll. We roll, we roll, we roll, we roll. We roll, we roll, we roll, we roll. We roll, we roll, we roll, we roll. So going back to, 6 years ago, my son just turned 6. I was in Uncle Lucius, and I knew my wife was pregnant, and that we got a due date, and so I took some time off from the band. I had enough time in advance to be able to do that. So that's what I did. I took about 3 weeks off prior to the due date and about a month after. It was our first kid. I wanted to be there. I want to be there for all. But I was there. Right around the due date, here it comes. I drove my wife to the hospital and did the whole deal. My son was born and did the whole thing, came home, and I'm there, losing sleep, doing the thing, helping mom, helping the baby, changing diapers. And then, about a few days before it's supposed to happen, reality kicks in. I got to leave and get back on the road because that's how we make our money, doing the thing. And I was a bit happy, but I was very sad, and it was, I didn't realize I was going to have that strong of a connection to it. So when I did leave, it was this crazy longing. And from that place, this song was born. I've got your face in my mind. My only hope is that you can remember mine. As we roll with the river of time. I've got your name on my heart. I wrote it there when the thought of you was only a spark of a sparkle. Got your name on my heart. And I cannot recall not knowing you. My faith in something more has been renewed. It's true. Thank you. And I cannot recall not knowing you. My faith in something more has been renewed. It's true. Thank you. I've got your face in my mind. I wrote your name on my heart. Did my last album in a few sessions. We just would meet once a month for about 3 days and knock out 2 or 3 songs, and just kind of go in there loose and play in the room and make the thing happen. But for fun, for the first session, I wanted to record a couple of covers, and one of them made the album, one of them didn't. It just didn't fit with things, but I will release this later on, maybe end of this year or early next year. It's a really cool song I've loved forever. And it was written by a woman named Mary Rich. Mary Rich was married to a guy named Charlie Rich. Charlie Rich was the singing son of the Silver Fox. He, we get behind closed doors. Good stuff. But she wrote this song for him, and he released it in 1969, and I think he did the ultimate version. But I've always dug this tune, so I'm going to do it for you. Don't know how to tell her I didn't get that raise and pay today. And I know how much she wanted that dress in the downtown window, and it breaks my heart to see her have to wait and cancel all the plans we made to celebrate. But I can count on her to take it with a smile, not a frown. She knows that life has its little ups and downs, like ponies on a merry-go-round, and no one grabs the brass ring every time, but she don't mind. She wears a gold ring and it's mine. New house plans we had so long, I guess we'll gather dust another year. And the daffodils she planted way last fall now are blooming up upon the hill and over by the gate. Lord knows I'd hate to say again we'll have to wait, but you can bet she'll just take it with a smile, not a frown. She knows that life has little ups and downs, like ponies on a merry-go-round, and no one grabs a brass ring every time, but she don't mind. She wears a gold ring on her finger, and I'm so glad it's mine. She wears a gold ring on her finger, and I'm so glad it's mine. Ricky Van Shelton did a version of that too. Can't recall the year. So I'm gonna lay this next one out for you. This is a kind of a nonsensical tune, but came from a real place. Life on the road, it's a lot of vans and a lot of hotel rooms, and everything just kind of runs together. You don't know where you are sometimes. But somewhere in linear time in the United States of America, while checking into a hotel, at the hotel desk, there was a USA Today on the desk. That's why I know it was United States, because it was USA Today, see? And there was a little blurb on the front, little side story, about sinkholes opening up in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. So I'm standing in line waiting, and I'm thinking about Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. And I have first-hand experience with Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, because I was born and raised in Texas, but my mom was born in New Orleans and raised as a kid before she moved to Texas. I think at the end of elementary school, she was raised in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. Down south of New Orleans, down the bayou, you know. Lots of water and levees and good times and amazing people. And, man, they can cook and drink anybody under the table. But I had an archetype in my mind for a person from Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. And I saw him in my mind, and I'm still waiting in line. It's taking a while. And I'm thinking of sinkholes opening up in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. And I see this guy, I'm going to name him Johnny Thibodeau. And I see him, and he's kind of needling a pirogue, a little boat that you kind of row or pole down the bayou. And I see him, and I can see him coming at me. His eyes are big, and he's barely getting out because a sinkhole opened up and a whirlpool has started. And he makes it out alive, but he loses everything else. He loses his trailer and his truck. Can't find his dogs. I think they're alive, but they're not there right then. And so that's on my mind, standing in line. And I get up to the hotel room after checking in, and I try to write it. And I write a little bit of the first verse, about a verse and a half. And then I have to do something. I try to come back to it, and I can't force it, so I just leave it alone. I put it to the side. Fast forward a few months later, somewhere else in the United States of America, after a show in a hotel room, asleep in a bed, and there's another bed over there, and the guitar player from Uncle Lucius is asleep too, and his snoring wakes me up, and I wake up, and he's asleep, snoring, just having a good time, but he's so loud. I love him, he knows. But he'd left the TV on. And on the television, it's just starting on the Turner Classic Movie Channel, a movie called Louisiana Story. And it's in black and white. Looks like it was filmed in the 40s, perhaps. So I'm up and I'm intrigued, and I just start watching. I only found out later it was made by Standard Oil, and it was kind of a piece to get people on their side for drilling down in the swamps, which is a big reason why now there's sinkholes opening up in Terrebonne Parish. But we're not talking about that right now. But in this movie, it's in black and white, and there's these actors that they hire to be the oil men, and they got their hard hats on, and they're going around, and there's like a little kid who they say, okay, you're from here, and you're gonna not have any shoes on, and you're gonna come up to those guys and say, gee, guys, what are you doing? We're trying to strike oil. And he's like, I'm rooting for you. And then I think they took some real people that lived down there and said, tell me a story. And we're going to edit this in to the movie and make it look like a thing, and you can tell some editing. It was done well. It was pretty, but there's some real folks from down there. This old man, he's sitting in this hutch of a house, and he's got this big chawl doing that, and there's a woman behind him with a fire and a rabbit on a spit, and he's telling stories, and he said, I want to tell you this story about my friend that got his hand bit off by the alligator. He said, he lost his hand, but he's happy to be alive, so he sings all the day. He sings this song all the time, and then he busts into this song, and it just like sparked it. Like that song is the perfect thing to put on the end of that Johnny Thibodeau song I started. So I started playing that and doing that, wrote it down a couple of days. I had it, but I couldn't find the first verse. I couldn't get it started. So I went back to the aftermath in my mind. The water's gone now, and it's just mud. And his trailer house is turned over. His truck sticking up halfway through the mud like this. And there's a trunk of like clothes and family pictures and stuff. And I see this, and I grab a bunch of Polaroid pictures out of the mud. And I look at them, and I get the mud off of them, and it's a picture of Johnny Thibodeau's bird dogs. And there it is, the first line. So listen for that. This is a song that somehow, some way, put itself together and kind of makes sense. This is called The Luckiest Creole in Terrebonne Parish. Bird dogs and photographs, hurricanes and aftermaths. Johnny lost his thunder when the water came. Poured down on land that's sinking it. Didn't leave no time for thinking. He barely made it out, but he's got that Piro and his light. With knuckles wide as tombstone paint, he'd push that pole while that sinkhole sank. His headed swim second lines and marching safe. He even made the newsprint bolts as luckiest Creole in Terrebonne. The Tempest took his truck and his trailer home, but he's got that Piro and his life. I eat when I'm hungry, I drink when I'm dry. If whiskey don't kill me, I live till I die. I eat when I'm hungry, I drink when I'm dry. If whiskey don't kill me, I live till I die. Yeah, I eat when I'm hungry, I drink when I'm dry. If whiskey don't kill me, I live till I die. That's a very fun song to record. It's a bit longer, and you can hear there's accordion in it and some good guitar picking. And my friend, who I usually play an acoustic show with, a cello player, friend of mine from Austin, he plays the Creole cello on it. And I don't think there's ever been an instrument listed in a recording that way. But it's on there, so look out for that. It comes out in late June. Believe it or not, I ain't much different than you. I got a head on my shoulders and feet in my shoes, both walking down the same old road. And the air that you breathe, it's the fuel that you need to keep the whole thing running. Hey, that's just like me. I share triumphs and woes. Now shape and our color and our size ain't the same, but the substance in the middle's only got one name. Yeah, I got soul. You got soul. We all got soul. Everybody got soul. I've seen up, I've seen down, I've seen the spaces between. I felt the sorrow of loss and the joy of reprieve. I hope you empathize. I heard about the way things are and how they ought to be, and know the only one controlling my future is me. A favorite truth over lies. So truth be told, we all come from one place, no matter what your sign, your creed, or your race. Yeah, I got soul. You got soul. We all got soul. Everybody 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 is a soul. Thank you. So right before the long break, my wife and I worked up the courage. I asked her to do it, and she said, yeah, I'm crazy enough to do that. Let's do this. And together we decided to be courageous and move out of our rental place in Buda, Texas, which is 8 miles south of Austin, where we'd been for 6 years together, and I was in Austin 18 years prior to that. And we had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time. You know what? I can do this. I don't have the band anymore. My booking agent can book me for 6 months out west. I want to go. We'll leave Texas, and we'll go travel the western United States, and I'm getting a travel trailer and a truck, and I pulled up, we moved out, and we went. I had it booked. My booking agent booked it. I did a run with Robert Earl Keen, had it all set up, ready to go. did one show in Roswell, New Mexico, and then everything shut down. So, there we are in Roswell, New Mexico, in an RV park, and I'm looking at my 2 little kids, I'm like, I don't want to live here. And I called my old landlord, and she'd already rented the place for a 30% increase. And everything in Austin and the surrounding area had done that. It's so expensive. It's like, man, I can't do that either. So I got to thinking of people I knew, called around, and my wife and I had a mutual friend. He's a Hall of Fame rodeo photographer. My wife used to run a rodeo, by the way, before she tour managed Ray Wiley Hubbard. She's awesome. The road is easy for her. But this mutual friend of ours, this guy had some land in London, Texas, west of Kerrville, and he had about 300 acres and a bunch of goats. And I was like, man, I need to make my way back into Texas. Do you have an RV hookup? And can I wait it out for about a week? Maybe this thing will pass over and I get back on the road. You know? It's like, yeah, man, come on. I'll do you one better, man. We have a pool and a pool house, so your family stay in there and do the thing. And they were amazing. And we did that, and there was a pool, and there were the kids. It was awesome, except for the towering cloud over us, like, what is going on? And we were there for a month and a half, being taken care of by these amazing people. And they took care of us, and they are best friends forever now. But I knew I had to get out, so I looked online. I looked at Zillow and all the other ones, and I looked all over Texas. Like, I just need to be in Texas somewhere when this thing goes again, because I can play my shows regionally and do okay. And I found a place north of College Station in Bryan, Texas, way out in the country. I found it the night I was about to sign a lease in Kerrville on a place in a small neighborhood. And I looked one more time, and I found this, and the next day I drove the 4 hours to look at it and said yes right on the spot. So since then, my wife and kids and I have been living on about 30 acres on a widow's land. She lives in a house in the front, and we live in the very back in a small house and have no neighbors. And our neighbors are the cows in this field and the bobcats and the mountain lions and the snakes and the otter family that goes across the yard every once in a while. But it's amazing. There's the silver lining of that. It's been good for me to be able to go out in a full moon in this big field and have my guitar, and the kids are asleep, and I'm in the full moon barefoot and, getting some good vibes, maybe writing some good songs, maybe, like getting a feel for it. Everything's new, but we're in a good place, so I'm trying to settle down. And we're on this land owned by a widow. She has this house in the front and a lean-to on this field beside us, where there's a line of trees, small trees that grew upon the fence line. That gives you an idea, but you can't see through them. And in that field across is her horse that was left to her by her husband that she just takes care of. She has nothing to do with it. She just says, I'm taking care of it. And I help her feed it. And she has a rescue donkey. This rescue donkey cannot make a regular donkey sound. He makes a rescue donkey sound. But before I met the rescue donkey, I was out in that field at night under the full moon, and I was just walking around, and I got really close to that fence, and I'm feeling something. There's a song coming on, and then but as loud as a donkey is. Has anybody ever heard a donkey? And it's many, many decibels, okay? But imagine this. I know what a donkey sounds like. I know what a horse sounds like. I know what everything sounds like. But in context, there's no context for this. And it's that loud and that close, I automatically, obviously, began running away. Like, I fell on my knees. I was running so fast, and the guitar was okay, but I ran in the house, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I didn't know all night until the next day. And I was walking over to the widow's house, actually, to ask her if she heard anything that went, ah! And I saw the donkey. And I remember she told me it was a rescue donkey, so I asked her, and she said, yeah, somebody tried to rope it around the neck, and it crushed its trachea in a weird way that it can't make a regular noise, but it can try. And I need to get a recording of it to do during that, because there's no context for it. So this next song has nothing to do with rescue donkeys or any of that. But it was written in that place, and it was inspired by the woods and those walks at midnight with the full moon, or even during the day, just being with nature. And this song came from that place. Sun glow for shadows breaking day, treetops swaying bough, reaching roads, twist and turn to find a way. Come what may, breeze blowing hints from hidden stars, birds flying patterns, singing songs that always tell us who they are, but not that far removed. To be moved by the stillness of the sea, and held captive by the crashing waves that haunt eternity, to contemplate the rise, then the fall, is to possibly, perhaps, perceive our own connection to it all. That is you and that is me. Moon whisper shadows in the night, monochrome secret show bathed in secondhand starlight. Oh, midnight sight. We are not that far removed. We are not that far. We are not that far removed. To be moved by the stillness of the sea, and held captive by the crashing waves that haunt eternity, to contemplate the rise and then the fall, is to possibly, perhaps, perceive our own connection to it all. That is you and that is me. We are not that far removed. We are not that far. We are not that far. We are not that far removed. Remember what you are. We are not that far removed. Thank you. That is one of the newest songs I've written. I have a couple more totally complete since that one, but it's some of my latest stuff. And that tune is actually on the new album. It's called Not That Far Removed. But I want to bring you back, if I may, to the beginning for me. I told you I've been doing this for about 20 years. And I claim this song is the first song I've ever written. It's really not, but I've forgotten everyone previous to this one. Intentionally, I did this on purpose. I was 24, newly divorced, working at a bank in Longview, Texas, Northeast Texas. And I was a personal banker, and the district manager came and visited and pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I'd like to offer you free training with the company, and I'd love for you to train you and have you take over this whole branch. And then, see what happens after that." So I had a lot to think about, and I went home, and I thought about it, and I came back the next day, and I put in my 2 weeks' notice and said, "No, I'll quit." It was cool. I worked my 2 weeks there, and then I went to my job at Applebee's. I was working at Applebee's as well. See, I was newly divorced, and I didn't want to be alone and think about things. So I was working at the bank, getting offered the promotion, and then working at Applebee's. And then everything I made at Applebee's, I would spend on alcohol and other things and hang around with the wrong people. But I made friends from all sorts. And I had these two friends, these young ladies, they were living in East Texas as well at the same time. And at these parties, we'd talk about wanting to leave, wanting to get out and go see Austin. I wanted to go there because they were playing music there every night. They wanted to go there just to get out of East Texas because they're thinking, they got to go. And so we did it. We made a pact. We got an apartment together in South Austin, Texas, on the interstate. And they got jobs at Hooters, and I got random, regular, everyday jobs. I was waiting tables a lot. I did transmission parts, delivery. I sold Oriental rugs. I did all these things. But mostly I was trying to meet their friends. See, I'm newly single and 25. I just turned 25. And I came down with a goal of getting into the music business. And I said, I'm going to give myself 10 years. But I'm trying to write better songs. I'm trying to do the thing, but I'm not because I'm partying too much. But I start going to open mics. And this is where I saw it. I see guys and girls that are really good. And I realize that my songs are not really that good. And I make a pact with myself. Yeah, I'm just going to let go of those and not play those and not play so many covers and write new songs. This is about the same time I'm trying to meet their friends, right? So I'm not really doing it. I'm trying a little bit, but not doing it 100% like I should be. But one night, I'm alone in the apartment. And it's a Friday. My two roommates get off of work and they don't come home because they go to a party. This is before I had a car. I was too far from the bus line, so I was stuck. So I grabbed my guitar. I was feeling sad for myself. I grabbed the bottle of whiskey I had that was right at the bottom. I poured the little bit out into a glass, and I had it in front of me on the table beside my bed. I started playing simple chords and looking at that whiskey and looking out the window. And then I just write what I see in front of me. And these simple chords bring about that first meditative state at 25, really. And I get out of my own way and I write what I see in front of me. And then a second verse comes out after that. And then a third verse comes with a little bit of editing a few weeks in. But I learned a new way to write a song. And for me, it was a landmark for me. And so this is why I claim this to be the first song I ever wrote. This is from 25-year-old me to you. Empty bottle, a single barrel, outside a quarter mile. 2:11 a.m. on the clock as I lie alone in my room. napkin with a number and a name written in black ink intrigues me to a point, but so does another whiskey drink. Take a drink. Things are good here, not so bad. I've no complaint, except for the monotony of the things that never change. I got a monkey on my back and a fever in my head, and it's like I've hit a wall. I've got to take a chance and make a move before my castle falls. Take a drink. Ain't it funny how emptiness can be created by an emptyless life? What with troubles and travels and everyday matters and habits that can render you blind. Your philosophy is just an opinion for the masses, and the masses could be wrong. But hell, man, what do I know? I'm just a writer and a singer of simple songs. Take a drink. Take a drink. Drink it in. Drink it in. Baby, you don't move me like you used to, she said. Baby, you don't do it like before. We used to have late night lovers more. We used to steal away, forget ourselves for days, laying lost in each other. I used to make you swoon beneath that lover's moon. We hardly hold each other anymore, and your contempt at my tries creates confusion in my mind. Are you angry at me or at yourself for wasted time? Baby, you don't move me like you used to, she said. Baby, you don't do it like before. Baby, you don't move me like you used to. Baby, you don't do it like before. I appreciate the honesty it takes. It don't come easy, it's never easy. I only hope that you can finally face the reasons for your rage. Otherwise, we're only circling back. Same old cycle, same old familiar track. Baby, you don't move me like you used to, she said. Baby, you don't do it like before. Baby, you don't move me like you used to, she said. Baby, you don't do it like before. Do one more cover in this set. This is by another hero of mine. It's a Townes Van Zandt song. Going out to Denver, see if I can't find going out to Denver, see if I can't find that loving Colorado girl of mine. Well, the promise in a smile shames the mountains tall. Yeah, the promise in a smile shames the mountains tall. She can bring the sun to shining, tell the rain to fall. Been a long time, mama, since I heard you call my name. Been a long time, mama, since I heard you call my name. Gotta see my Colorado girl again. Be there tomorrow, mama, don't you cry. Be there tomorrow, mama, don't you cry. I'm gonna kiss these lonesome Texas blues goodbye. I'm going out to Denver, see if I can find yeah, I'm going out to Denver, see if I can't find that loving Colorado girl of mine. That loving Colorado girl of mine. No longer motivated by fear or bread. I once was a fight and a miser. Now I'm a lover with a level head. Instead of choosing to live in reaction mode, I set intention before me, let go and flow. To grow and know from the inside out and shine light in the shadows cast by doubt. It is not out there, it is in here. It is not out there, it is in here. Where's the light? Where does the light come from? Where's the light? Where does the light come from? Passing over rite of passage, living the past in present tense, steeped in dead tradition, our attention without intent, going through the motions without knowing why, faking our emotions, trying hard not to try too hard, with our guards held way up high. Let fall the wall, look within to realize it is not out there, it is in here. It is not out there, it is in here. Where's the light? Where does the light come from? Where's the light? Where does the light come from? Thank you. It's on the last Uncle Lucius album. It's a title track. It's called The Light. So I mentioned all of this Uncle Lucius stuff because it leads us here. In 2011, we were out on the road in the Southeast, and this gentleman approached us after the show. He said, "I'd love to sign you with a record label I'm working for." Cool, tell me more. He's like, well, we're out of Nashville, and I used to work for this company and this company, and I work for this company. It's a bigger company that bought all these other companies and all that stuff. It's like, all right, cool. But then I asked around some people that knew him, and the guy was cool. But, you know, we didn't know things. But we got the opportunity to record a really cool album in a really cool studio in a guy's basement in Nashville with all this great gear, with a great producer, a guy named R.S. Field, who's done some really cool stuff. And I'm not complaining about any of it because it afforded us an opportunity to get beyond where we were. I was still booking some of our shows and like it helped and we needed it. So we recorded this album. We put it out in the year 2012. We had a couple of singles off of it where they pushed it to radio and everything, and we toured a bunch. That was like the first time we went to Europe and did the thing and did a lot of United States. We made a couple of videos, like $1,500 videos, and put them on YouTube, and we were just had our heads down and playing live shows. That's how we made our living. But a song I had written in 2010 made the album, and it was a song that I'd written about real life, a true story about growing up south of Houston in Freeport, Texas, surrounded by chemical plants. My neighborhood was 200 yards from Dow Chemical USA, and it looked like Manhattan lit up at night, but it was only Dow Chemical USA. And growing up there, all your friends' moms and dads worked in the chemical plants, or most of them did. And my dad worked in those chemical plants. He started sweeping floors at one of them and moved his way up. And he was just a high school graduate, no college, just went to work. He learned a little bit, got hired on maintenance, learned a little bit, head of maintenance, hired across the highway at the bigger chemical plant, head of maintenance, brought back to the other one. Maintenance and disaster response. So they gave him all this elite disaster response training on how to put out chemical fires and clean up chemical spills, you know. And so he's new on this job. And I'm about 13 years old at home, and Dad's working all the time. We never answered the phone on the wall in the hallway because it was work calling Dad in. I'd made that mistake once. But, you know, Dad was always working. So he's on this disaster team, and he gets a call when he's on call, he had to go. There's a spill in Galveston, Texas. Galveston's 45 minutes from where I grew up, down Blue Water Highway, right along the coast. And in the port of Galveston, there is a barge, like a flat tanker ship with tanks stacked on top of it, 5 and 6 high, and they're leaking, some of them are leaking this very lethal chemical. And they're thinking about evacuating Galveston because of what the chemical is and some of its record. But they didn't end up doing that. But it was hairy for a moment. So my father's on this team of 4 gentlemen, and it's their job to go to every single tank and check out the valve. And there's a safety cover on the valve. They had to go to every one of them, take the safety cover off slowly, and see which ones were leaking. Well, they're in full hazmat suits. They're a few hours into the job, and they get to this one tank. And there's 2 men on this side of the valve and 2 men on this side. They're kind of in the railing, like on top of this tank, like this. And they're slowly taking off this safety cover, and the pressure's building, and it's building, and it blows and explodes. And it comes towards my father and the guy beside him. And it blows off their hazmat suits, and they're in the railing, like just about 5 stories high, hanging, and it begins to spray them with this liquid chemical. So they're unconscious. And I know this specific story because one of the other guys on this side told me this story at an Uncle Lucius show. He said, I heard that song on the radio, and I knew it was about your dad, Steve Galloway, because it was so specific. I said, yeah, and he told me the story. I took him backstage, and he's telling me this story. He said, yeah, we were fine. It kind of went towards them, and we got up over the tank and over there and got them down the ladders and across the street. Across the street from the port of Galveston is the University of Texas Medical Branch, and there is the John Seeley Burn Unit, one of the best in the world. And they knew how to treat chemical burns and the trauma, of course, and they began to treat him. My father is in bad shape, and my mom gets a call in the middle of the night. She wakes us up, and she doesn't say much. She said, we're going to Galveston. And we drive 45 minutes in the middle of the night to Galveston, Texas, to the hospital. And we get to the door, and Mom says, we have to say goodbye because they don't believe he'll make it through the night. That's why you're here. So we go in, and he's unconscious and unrecognizable. I don't even know if he knew we were there. And we say our goodbyes, and we leave. And Mom directly takes us back to Freeport. And then my granny's there, and we stay with her, and my mom goes right back. And we just wait. And he's still alive. You know, he's pretty much in a coma, but he's still alive. Another day, still in the ICU. A few weeks, he's still alive in the ICU. A few weeks later, they give him a regular bed, still alive. They're scrubbing him the burns every day like he went through hell. The liquid chemical got into his lungs, and so he lost most of his lung capacity, and his eyes are burned shut, and that took a long time to come back. But my dad was in the hospital for a few months, but he finally came home, and then he couldn't go back to work at the chemical plant, and we were just there, and a few years pass, and they keep him on, for about 8 years, they keep him on steroids for his lung capacity. So there's the ups and downs of that. And then a few years later, a small settlement comes. And the doctor says, if you want to live to see your grandchildren, you need to get out of this area where all the chemical plants are. And they sold the house, and we moved to to Northeast Texas. She's all right. And we moved there amongst the pine trees and got a little land, but Dad couldn't work. He could work a little bit, but not for anybody. And, you know, he's good. He's never been 100%, but he's much, much better now, and he gets around and does things. But just before that show where that guy told me that story about being on the tank with my dad, I was having a beer with my dad. And he brought it all up, and we hadn't talked about it in years, and he said, "Son, I've been through hell, but I'm glad for it because it made me who I am, and it's gotten me to this point in my realization of things in life." And he says, "I'm okay with it, and I'm happy." I was able to tell that gentleman that was on the tank with my dad that night that story because it had just happened a few days prior. I was able to tell him because the whole time he's telling me this story, he's kind of got a clench in his jaw. Because when he's telling me the story at the end, he asks, "How is your dad?" Because I hadn't seen him since that day. Hadn't seen him in years. And I said, "Man, you're not going to believe this. The other day, my dad told me that he's good. He's okay with it. He's at peace with it." I saw this in front of with my own eyes. The clench in his jaw lifted. Like he had that, he was holding that, and the story made it a harder thing. And it lifted when I told him that. And it was just the most amazing, epic thing. To bring it all around for you, this song is a true story about all of that. And Uncle Lucius released this in 2012 and put a $1,500 video out for it. That video has just reached 100 million views. It's on YouTube. It tells the story, and my parents are in the last scene sitting in a bar watching Uncle Lucius play, and that's my parents. And so it tells their story. And 3 years after Uncle Lucius was done, I get all these texts, 2.5 years, I get all these texts from people. "Congratulations, man. This is awesome. You're on Yellowstone." And I said, What do you mean? I've never been to Yellowstone. I've been close, but I've never been. I've been really close in Montana. "No, it's a show on TV, dummy. And your song is on it." I was like, "Hey, that's cool." Because I looked up Yellowstone, and Yellowstone at that time was the most watched television show in the United States of America. So it got me to thinking, shouldn't I get paid for that? Am I okay to go a little bit over? Okay, thank you. Because I just saw what time it was. We're almost there. But I got to bring this home. Because I said, shouldn't I gotten paid for that? And turns out I should have, and I have a great attorney now. We didn't have an attorney then. When a record label wants to sign you and they said, "Oh, we'll provide you an attorney," don't do that. We learned the hard way. Here's the deal. This is what happened. We signed an okay record deal, a bad one, where they own 50% of the publishing. And Yellowstone reached out to the old record label and inquired about the song, and they said, "Yeah, use it and pay us." Cool, and keep paying us. They never had to tell us until we inquired. That's in the little small print. But we have this great attorney. I love her so much down in Austin, Texas. She's amazing, and she loves to inquire about things. And she inquired about that. And after a year and a half of back and forth, we got paid for that. And then we get the back pay, and it's all correct now. We get paid. A few months into the inquiring, we looked at the YouTube, and it was about 70 million then. And she inquired about the advertising money for that. We got that right, too. So anytime you watch it, I wrote the song, and Uncle Lucius gets a little bit. And it feels like the 13 years of sleeping in Ford Econoline vans and on people's floors finally paid off. And remember, I told you I'm living during the pandemic in the woods with my family, and I can't tour? That's when I got my first check. Right when I needed it, right? Isn't that how that kind of works out sometimes? I don't ask questions. I'm just thankful, you know? And here's the cool thing. There's so many cool things about this. We got it official, certified with the old record label. They had to go back and forth with this. While this all happened because of that and Yellowstone and the video traction over time, you have reached gold status, meaning 500,000 sales. They count streams and everything different, but it's a gold record. And so I was able to order it from the place in Los Angeles, like officially. And everyone in Uncle Lucius has a gold record on the wall. And we got one from my parents. So they have one on their wall. I'll tell you something cool at the end. But I do want you to know this is a very true story. Took my first breath where the muddy Brazos spills into the Gulf of Mexico, where the skyline's colored by chemical plants that put bread on the table of the working man, where the working man does his best to provide safety and shelter for kids and a wife, giving a little of his soul every day, making overtime to keep the wolves away. Well, I was barely 13 when the company man tried to dig my daddy's grave. It happened on a French-owned tanker ship spilling poison in the Galveston Bay. Well, the liquid fire filled his lungs and his eyes silenced any mortal cries. And cold in the grip, death stinging pain, he fought like hell to keep the wolves away. For the next few years, Dad was sick as a dog, but he made a recovery just to spite the odds. The settlement came and we moved out of town where the sky isn't heavy with refinery clouds. Yeah, he's still alive, he's doing good, he's in his 60s, but the money's running out and he's pinching for pennies. So I'm going for broke with every song I play, 'cause now it's my turn to keep the wolves away. Thank you so very much. You're an amazing crowd. This made it easy for me, and I love doing this, so thank you for the opportunity. Y'all, my inquiring attorney has been inquiring, and they're trying to go back and forth, but she did the numbers, and it's gone platinum now. We're just waiting to get it certified and get a platinum record from my parents. So cheers to you, and cheers to music. Follow your dreams and get a good attorney. Have a good night. Thank you. I do have CDs and a few T-shirts, so thank you.